Okay guys, making a breakdown video. I think the first time I ever made one of these, and it's going to be from Nicky Ryan versus JT Torres at this past WNO. Nicky Ryan got a huge win over two-time back-to-back ADCC champion JT Torres. Nicky managed to hit him with a really sneaky counter leg entanglement and was able to capitalize on that and get the win. Let's look at that leg entanglement real quick. Chris, thanks for being with us today. Stoller, thanks for filming behind the camera. I appreciate you. So yeah, Nicky Ryan, old training partner from the Blue Basement. Great kid, absolutely great kid. Missed training with him a ton. And this is a huge win for him. Really sneaky counter leg lock. I'm really impressed with it. So let's look at what exactly happened. So initially, Nicky shot in for a low single, and they ended up in a scramble situation. We won't go over that right now. What we're going to go over is more what led to the finishing sequence. JT managed to land in an inside Senkaku, across Ashi, like so. Let me do it to you, Chris. So JT managed to land in a cross Ashi and inside Senkaku. From here, JT decided to come on top and use the inside Senkaku. No, you stay on bottom. He's decided to come on top and use the inside Senkaku to pass, okay? Which is an excellent strategy, using the leg entanglement not only to attack the legs, but come forward and start to attack a pass, okay? So from here, what JT did is he built back. He built to one knee on the mat, and he started to build head height. As he did that, very sneaky entry by Nicky Ryan, really cool stuff. He took his opposite leg, so the leg that is not entangled, his secondary leg, and he pommeled it behind JT's hamstring. Okay? Once he pommeled it behind JT's hamstring, JT and Nicky ended up in this situation where JT ended up on two knees on the mat. Nicky managed to go through and cross his ankles like so, thus solidifying the position. Okay? From here, JT went through, controlled and pinned Nicky's wrist. Nicky managed to score a grip on JT's knee with his forearm, and JT kept the head-to-head pressure going. Okay? Now, understand in this situation, both of JT's ankles are far away from Nicky. So while Nicky does have a leg entanglement on JT, and a strong leg entanglement at that, and has both legs entangled, what Nicky wants to attack in the entanglement is actually far and away from him. So what happened, the sequence that led Nicky to grab the ankle that he ended up finishing on was actually really cool, okay? From here, Nicky managed to get his hips under JT to start to off-balance JT out to his right. What happened was that as JT went to his right, obviously he based. So as he went to base, go ahead, his ankle popped up, okay? So before there was no ankle exposure, when Nicky threatened the off-balance and JT posted to base, ankle exposure occurred. From there, Nicky managed to score the ankle. Now that he scored the ankle, if JT simply fell to his ass here, that would have been it. Then Nicky would have been in his finishing sequence. Obviously, JT's a high-level opponent. He's not just going to give you your first attempt, right? High-level opponents find ways to fight through multiple lines of resistance, okay? So from here, when Nicky scored the ankle, go ahead, JT came back forward head-to-head position here. And he managed to put his knee back down on the mat. But Nicky already had the ankle, which led Nicky to go belly down and then allowed him to fully cross his Senkaku with his legs. You got it? Mm-hmm. Okay. While Nicky has the ankle completely controlled. So Nicky went from a situation where his ankles were crossed to a situation where he had basically a full Senkaku, if I'm not mistaken. From here, obviously, again, JT's not just going to stay belly down and allow Nicky to finish him. He started to drive back into him. As he started to drive back into him, they both went ass cheeks to the mat again, and they ended up in this situation. I had a couple people ask me like what the name of this situation is. I've never heard John have a name for this, a specific counter. I'd have to ask him personally, but the only name I've heard given to this counter specifically here is the 10th Planet crowd call it the honey stick. Okay, the honey stick being, let's go back a step. If I'm an inside Senkaku, if I'm in a cross Ashi here, from here what Chris will do is he'll lean back, take his foot, pommel it, pommel your foot up and over, put two hands on my secondary leg and collect it. Now from here, his legs are crossed and protected, I have one ankle exposed, okay? And that's exactly the position that Nicky and JT ended up in. From there, Nicky went back on a straight ankle, good, he put two hands on it, good, and now he started to lean back, bridge into it, and get his tap. All right. So again, very neat sequence by Nicky. It's the first time I've actually seen this specific entry from that specific position. Obviously, I've seen the entry done from a standard inside senkaku, where from here a person's turning away, they manage to pommel their foot inside, and they slip into the position. But I've never seen it done from like that knee cut hybrid, which was pretty cool, okay? So once again, let's go over the entry one more time, and then I'm gonna show you guys arguably what is something that JT could have done to prevent himself from being finished, okay? So again, JT ended up in a cross-ashi situation. Off this cross-ashi situation, he built up to a knee and started to drive forward on Nicky. Nicky slipped his arm inside, pommeled the foot inside. Good. And now from here, crossed his ankles. Yes, beautiful, Chris. Chris is getting better at the entry. Okay? Now from here, JT kept head-to-head pressure. Nicky off-balanced him off to his left, or I don't remember if it was specifically to his left in the actual match, but right now in our scenario, to Chris's left, in order to get him to post and also to expose the ankle. Once he collected the ankle, JT came back forward, Chris goes belly down, beautiful, and he collects the ankle. JT drives back into him, and now they end up both ass cheeks on the mat, okay? Off ass cheeks on the mat. Nicky went back on the ankle, connected his hands, and then went through to get the finish. Now let's look at what JT should have done in this situation, okay? Let's go over late stage first, and then I'll backtrack a little bit. I'll show you the early stage, okay? Late stage is both of you end up on your ass cheeks. He has the full entanglement in set, and he's ready to start attacking my ankle, okay? First things first, you don't want your ankle to be attacked. Start taking your feet and pointing your foot towards the spine. Second thing, I need to make sure I start to address his leg entanglement, okay? I can't expect to win this battle if I just constantly come forward and then just try to address the head, try to address the hands. Ultimately, I need to address what's holding me in the position, which is the entanglement of the legs. So from here, I come back, I grab the arch of the foot, I pummel my right hand under, and I grab the heel, okay? From here, I use this to disconnect his feet. Off of this disconnection, I'm gonna take my right hand, swim through, and pommel his leg to my outside position. Now, we turn a situation that was my disadvantage to my advantage, okay? This situation here, I'm in a much more powerful finishing position than Chris is now, okay? Secondly, let's go into what JT should have done in the early stage. So JT ended up coming up on a knee. Nicky got to his leg lace. He came forward here, and then Nicky got his ankles crossed here, exactly. The initial mistake that JT made that cost him a lot here was that he continued to go head-to-head pressure, okay? So JT continued to come forward and go head over head. Now understand, head over head is a great way of creating pressure on an opponent. Generally speaking, the closer your head gets to theirs, the more pressure you're going to be able to place on them. But understand you have to have the requirements for head-to-head pressure, okay? If your opponent has an advantageous leg entanglement on you, going head over head can get you in more trouble, okay? And that's exactly what happened in this situation. What JT should have done is we're here, his ankles are crossed. The moment I felt his ankles start to cross is stop what you're doing with the pass and address the problem, which is the leg entanglement. From here, my knee goes on the mat, my hands start to walk back, and I start to address the leg entanglement here, okay? And at the very least, I start to out-pommel my legs again and start to come back to a more advantageous passing situation. You could go into some counter leg locks from there as well, but at the very least, if I'm coming forward and I feel like my opponent's starting to score an advantageous leg entanglement on me, I'm going to stop everything I'm doing. I'm going to address what the problem is, which is the leg entanglement. I'm going to start to disconnect and separate my opponent's legs. Once I disconnect and separate and can detangle my legs from his, then I can start to come forward and start to threaten the pass again. Make sense? So JT and Nicky are both two great jiu-jitsu practitioners. Obviously, JT, an absolute legend in the sport, two-time ADCC champion, nothing to hang his head about. He's proved everything there is to prove in this sport, honestly. If you know, there are people who spend an entire lifetime and can't accomplish half of what he's done. So obviously, nothing for JT to hang his head on. If you get out there, there are days where you would get submitted, and that's just the way it goes. Nicky, excellent job, my friend. Was beautiful to watch. Great counter. See you guys next time.